Women involved in agriculture from all around the Commonwealth of Virginia attended the first ever Virginia Agra Women annual meeting in October. The event took place at Hermitage Hill Farm and Stables in Augusta County. Participants included Commissioner of Agriculture Sandy Adams, female producers from all across the state, and representatives of agribusiness and the Virginia Department of Agriculture. Virginia Agra Women is an affiliate of a national organization that was formed just last year. It hopes to provide a forum for like-minded women working together to encourage growth in all aspects of Virginia agriculture. Well, crop conditions are looking good as we go into the month of November. Corn for grain harvest is mostly complete and soybean harvest is progressing well as field conditions allow. Cotton harvest in Virginia is a bit behind schedule due to excessive soil moisture caused by Hurricane Matthew in October. Turning to peanuts, Virginia growers had 60% of the crop harvested at the end of October. Other field activities at this time of the year include soil testing, applying manure, planting winter wheat and other cover crops, as well as picking the last of the 2016 apple crop. Well, cattlemen and consumers are seeing a lot of changes in the marketplace these days. Some of those changes are coming at a rapid pace. Bob Severa has this report from the American Angus Association.
We are used to slow change in the cattle business, but after decades at that pace, a rapid transition has set in.
Part of that's because of technology, and as we add technology to any industry, the change tends to happen faster. Part of it's because of communication directly from consumers, where we now understand to a much greater extent what consumers want and what they won't accept, and we're reacting to that. And part of that is just the speed of the way everything's happening in the globe these days.
The markets have seen increasingly wild price swings.
The price volatility in fed cattle over the last few years has exceeded what supply and demand differences would have predicted. So we know that there are other forces at work. Some of that is more investment in agricultural commodities than used to be, and some of that money is sort of transient. So there's money coming in and out of agricultural commodities that didn't used to pay attention to them, and in some pretty big amounts, and that creates volatility.
The unpredictable moves and the rise of social factors in the market make risk management more critical today.
We need to put in front of consumers exactly what they ask for, and so as consumers dictate more of one branded program or one type of specification or another, we need to meet that, but we also need to make sure that we can do it in a way that's profitable and economically sustainable.
Consumers pay premiums for what they want. They get behind social media platforms and rally for causes they believe in, sometimes regardless of practicality.
So if we can educate consumers and sustain the use of production-enhancing technologies, that makes us much more cost competitive compared to other industries. If we lose access to those technologies or voluntarily give up the use of those technologies, we'll be less cost competitive and we could suffer relative to other proteins.
The world's growing population will continue to need high-quality beef that's economically produced. But the world needs to know more about how it's produced. I'm Bob Cervera.
Thank you, Bob, for that report. Well, don't get burned when buying firewood. That's the message being conveyed to all Virginians this fall by the Virginia Department of Agriculture. It is important that firewood being sold by the cord actually contain a full cord, which is 128 cubic feet. State officials say buyers should not hesitate to measure the stack to make sure that they're getting a full cord. Many sellers of firewood cut logs into 24-inch lengths, so using that dimension, a cord of wood should measure 2 feet wide by 4 feet high by 16 feet long. State officials say it is important to use a tape measure and make sure you end up with 128 cubic feet. Bottom line, make sure you don't get burned when buying firewood. The National Fish and Wildlife Foundation will be conducting a 3-day agricultural networking forum in the Shenandoah Valley later this month. The event hopes to connect farmers with each other as well as key decision makers around the Chesapeake Bay watershed. Topics of discussion will include soil health, livestock exclusion practices, and possible implications of the next farm bill. The 3-day conference will take place November 16th through the 18th in Stanton, and it will include site visits to numerous operations in the Shenandoah Valley. Virginia Farming TV will be there, of course, and you can be assured we'll provide a full report on the event. Well, Virginia has launched the nation's first Century Forest program. The effort is designed to honor and recognize families who have owned working forest lands for more than 100 years. Century Forest properties must meet certain criteria to be accepted into the program. The land must have been owned by the same family for at least 100 consecutive years. The property must include at least 20 contiguous acres of managed forest. It must be lived on or managed by a descendant of the original owners, and the property must have a history of timber harvest or forest management activities. To request an application for the Century Forest program, just contact your nearest office of the Virginia Department of Forestry. Well, Amy Rocher takes us on an interesting field trip this week to talk about industrial hemp production in Virginia. It's straight ahead on Ag Insights.
Actions to allow hemp to be grown in Virginia for industrial uses has been in the works for a few years, and in 2016, Virginia had its first tests.
Our application for the research project in late June of 2015, and it was late June of 2016 before we got our seed. So in between that, we had to get registered with the DEA. We had to go through criminal background checks, get fingerprinted, and obtain a license from the Department of Ag and Consumer Services.
We imported our seed from Canada. The DEA had to approve the importation. It was sent to the Virginia Department of Agriculture. They took custody of it. Then they released it to JMU, who took custody. So there was a chain of custody through the program. The professor came out and observed us planting. Then he had to take the seed back and weigh the leftover seed. So very tightly controlled chain of custody.
Agricultural Act of 2014 authorized universities to engage in industrial hemp research, provided the state also authorized it and came up with a way of licensing it. So in 2015, Virginia passed legislation that authorized universities here to do that work.
So basically, the federal law defers to the state right now, saying the state, if it has legislation, you can do research. And since our proposal was that we were going to grow this for the seed and the bedding, that's what we're locked into legally. A few little things I like to tell people about.
Two farmers who agreed to help us in the research. We contracted with them to use their land and their equipment. And one farmer's in Albemarle County and one is in Rockingham, as we wanted to see if we could grow industrial hemp in this part of the Commonwealth. And we were interested first in knowing, can we use conventional agricultural equipment to plant and harvest it? Secondly, we wanted to know what is the effect of fertilization on it? How much fertilizer do we need to get a crop? So we had 4 plots, 2 in Albemarle and 2 in Rockingham. At each site we had a low fertility plot and then a higher fertility plot. The low fertility plot being just as a control group for comparison to see how much the fertilizer would add to the yield of the crop.
Yeah, the lay of the land, elevation I wouldn't say is much different, actual altitude, but the terrain itself. So I'm on top of a hill with a clay soil. He's on a river bottom with a loam. I am non-irrigated. He is, and he has calcitic soil. I have acidic soil because of the limestone in this Shenandoah Valley compared to the clay. And so we thought it would be a good reference for everybody. Now, fertilization rates are a factor, soil conditions, the weather, the particular weeks that is planted. So we got our seed late. He has irrigation that really helped invigorate the plants, and the available nitrogen that crop had access to made a big difference. I used chicken litter, and it sat for too long in the soil, so I lost a lot of my available nitrogen to, ammonia, volatilization, runoff. Goes away. When you put on liquid urea, it's available, and this particular crop absorbs a lot of nutrients if you provide it for them. So the more you give it, the more it'll grow.
Beyond that, we had no inputs. We didn't do any post-emergent spraying herbicides. We didn't use any insecticides, and hemp has, for the most part, competed very effectively, especially here in Rockingham, with the weeds. and we've had little insect damage on this, so it's been a very good crop, fairly high yield and relatively low investment.
So you are using this, you're taking the seeds for biodiesel. Are you doing anything with the fiber or with anything else, any other part?
We'll just use the stalks for bedding, we'll bale it, use it for bedding, and then the leftover seed cake we'll use for feed. Industrial hemp has many uses. If you can use petroleum, you can use industrial hemp oil. It will replace numerous fibers, cotton you can interchange with hemp. It just has hundreds of uses. It has a long history in our state, and it would be nice to bring it back as a crop that we can use in a rotation.
There are a number of states that are engaging in these research programs, and so what we're trying to do, and Virginia Tech and Virginia State are also involved in this research, and they're looking at different cultivars. What we want to find out is there a cultivar that's particularly well suited to this area, and so we're trying to determine what best cultivar, best fertility practice, best management practices, planting densities, all those issues are going to be answered by this research. Hopefully, if the universities can answer some of those research questions, then the farmers will have an easier time getting started.
So are you going to do anything different next year?
Yeah, we'll be trying a pre-plant herbicide. It's just vinegar, distilled vinegar, 5% vinegar. You could use 2,4-D or whatever it is that fancies you, just to have some control, because right now broadleaf herbicides and grass herbicides don't work. They both kill it. So there is nothing really available, and we're not allowed to test for it either. So
hemp is part of the species Cannabis sativa, and the Controlled Substances Act lists cannabis sativa and its products as Schedule I controlled substances. That's why in order to do this research, which was authorized by Congress, so it had exempted it from DEA jurisdiction, we have to be registered with the DEA and we have to be licensed by the state in order to handle hemp, even though it is not marijuana. To be hemp, it has to have a THC content of 0.3% or less. THC is the psychoactive component in marijuana that causes the psychomotor perception differences. So marijuana growers want a high THC content. Hemp growers, Canada already has a seed certification program where they will certify hemp seed as being consistently low in THC, and their farmers don't even have to be inspected or licensed to grow those. I would like to see a similar program implemented in Virginia, so that if we use certified hemp seed, then farmers would only have to register the field. They wouldn't have to go through criminal background checks, fingerprinting, buy a license just to grow an oil or a fiber crop.
The reason it's probably been outlawed is because it looks a lot like marijuana, and there's been a lot of fear as to whether you could grow hemp and marijuana and hide marijuana in the crop. It seems like law enforcement in the past has been resistant to legalizing it just because it's a regulatory problem to know where the marijuana is and where the hemp is.
Well, if someone was trying to sneak a marijuana crop into your hemp field, they're not going to be planting it at the same time you are. So as you patrol your field and look for germination, and you're going to recognize something is amiss, something is coming in late. So that's going to be easy to detect. If they're trying to grow marijuana and have it as a crop for future generations, they don't want it anywhere near hemp, because if the hemp pollinates the marijuana, then it's going to lower the THC content, and they're not going to have a good product either.
Hemp has a rich history in Virginia. According to historians, in 1619 it was actually illegal not to grow hemp in Jamestown, as it was such an important resource.
Hemp kept the British Navy afloat. So it's rather ironic that we end up now it being a banned substance. And it's because of the sweeping nature of the Controlled Substances Act that they failed to recognize that there are differences among varieties of this crop. Just like Brussels and broccoli, Brussels sprouts and broccoli are both from the same species, but they're different cultivars, or pinto beans and green beans are the same species, but different cultivars. Hemp and marijuana are different cultivars, vastly different cultivars, of the same ancestral plant, Cannabis sativa. So what we need is for Congress to recognize that farmers can develop varietal differences and recognize one is a commercial crop and one is a drug. And we're not advocating legalization of marijuana in any way, but we would like to be able to grow hemp, market it, sell it. Right now, for research purposes, we can grow it, but we're still not allowed to sell it or get it into the stream of commerce at all. We have to either use it on site or destroy it. So what we're doing in our research program is we're using an oil seed cultivar. We press the seed for the oil, convert that to biodiesel, use that in the farm equipment. Then the press cake that's left over, we feed that to animals, livestock feed, and then the stems we're going to chop and use for animal bedding. Well, the United States is the only industrialized country that does not allow the production of hemp. We have a lot of hemp products. We have hemp textiles. We have hemp food within the human food chain as well as animal food chain, but we're importing it all. We have a company here in Virginia that is marketing animal bedding as a product. They have to import the herd from Europe. Again, why can't we be growing this locally and producing it and supplying it to the local markets instead of bringing it in from overseas? It just doesn't make much sense. Virginia needs to get engaged in the hemp economy.
Cotton's length, average,
Must be about 2
quarter
centimeters.
inch.
Quarter inch, yeah, okay.
And that is the standard we use just because we grow a lot of cotton. But production-wise, yield-wise, this is going to blow cotton out of the water.
Well, over the next few weeks, we're certainly going to see a lot of meals that include sweet potatoes. Chris Mullins shows us how to grow our own sweet potatoes from the ground up.
Welcome to Virginia State University's Randolph Farm. Today we're going to be talking about sweet potatoes. Sweet potatoes you might think about Thanksgiving, that's when you usually eat them, but they're good all throughout the year. They're very healthy for you. They have a lot of vitamin A, vitamin C, potassium, calcium, and they're sometimes maybe thought to be a little bit better than white potatoes. They're also very easy to grow, and you as a home gardener should have no problem growing sweet potatoes in your garden. All right, well, we're in this sweet potato patch here. You can see they're growing really well. We've got some that we just dug up. It's a little early right now that we've dug these, so they're a little small. The longer that they stay in the ground, the larger they're going to get. This is a red variety. This is called Puerto Rico, but there are a lot of different varieties out there. Red flesh, orange flesh, even some stringy ones like this. There's a variety called Hemp. It's a white sweet potato, very, very sweet. Ones that you might find that do best in the garden are ones like Georgia Jet or Centennial. Also, Beauregard is a great variety. It is grown commercially, but it can also do very well in the home garden because it's very productive. You get a lot of sweet potatoes out of your field. So if you were going to grow these, it'd be best to have sandy soil. But if you're not in a sandy location, if you've got heavy clay soils, you might want to amend that soil with a little bit of organic matter or some compost to kind of make a little better environment for those sweet potatoes to grow. Because this is the root part that we're harvesting, right? One thing about sweet potatoes for the home garden, they're nice because they don't have a lot of disease or insect problems. But one thing to think about are weeds. As you see these plants here, they've vined over the row middles. There's not much chance of weeds growing through here now because all the sun's being blocked. But until this happens, until these vines cover over, you're going to need to make sure all the weeds are out of the row middles. You can pull them out or use a hoe and cultivate in between there. Now, you're seeing the plants now towards the end of the season. Now let's think about at the beginning of the season planting these. The best thing for the home grower to do is to go buy sweet potato slips. Those are the pulled plants that can be then transplanted into the ground. You can make a hill and plant these in the ground, put the plants within the row about 2 to 3 feet apart, and have rows that are about 4 to 6 feet apart to give them lots of space because they really do run and move and they'll do really well for you at that spacing. So you've grown your sweet potatoes, now you've got to figure out when to harvest these. Well, like I said before, usually these have maturity dates anywhere from 90 days to 150 days depending on the variety. One way to tell they're ready is as it starts to get colder, these will naturally kind of die back and it's time to harvest them. But you can check them periodically as you get towards that 90-day, 100-day period and see how they've done. They'll get a little larger the longer you keep them in the ground. And to dig them, you usually something like this, spading fork, digging carefully around the plant area, giving yourself about 8 to 10 inches on each side of the plant, and probably almost a foot deep. And then you just want to gently lift them out of the ground. They come out dirty like this. They're going to be bunched all together. You want to leave them on the surface to dry in the sun for a little bit, a few hours. And then you can take them inside. Don't need to clean them off. And if you want to cure them, they can be cured in warm temperature, somewhere that's relatively dry, about 80 to 85 degrees Fahrenheit, for about 2 weeks. And this will help to make them turn some of that starch into sugar. Then they can just be taken inside and used whenever they're ready to eat. So a real simple process to harvest these. For more information about sweet potato production, please contact your local county extension office and talk to a master gardener, or look online at the Virginia Cooperative Extension website for a publication about sweet potatoes. For From the Ground Up, we'll see you next time.
Our pearl of wisdom this week comes in from viewer Marcy M. in Roanoke, Virginia, who says, "Good health comes from the farm, not the pharmacy." Thank you, Marcy, for that pearl of wisdom. That does it for our show this week. Thanks once again to the sponsors of our program. If you'd like to get more information about becoming a sponsor, see our website at virginiafarming.com. Have a great week, everyone. I'm Jeff Ishii for Virginia Farming.
There are 30,000 roadway accidents each year involving cars and farm machinery. Farmers will be moving equipment for planting and harvest season. The slow-moving vehicle triangle in red and fluorescent orange colors and flashing lights allow for quick identification. When you see an SMV sign on farm equipment, slow down, prepare for sudden stops and slow turns.
Patience will save lives. Just remember, we all need to share the road, we all need to be responsible, and we need to be guided by the law.
Motor vehicle safety starts with you.
90 years ago, the Virginia Farm Bureau made our local farmers a promise to protect and preserve a way of life they work so hard to establish. We want to keep Virginia, Virginia. Anyone can be a Farm Bureau member, and there's a local Farm Bureau in every county. More information is at vafarmbureau.org.
Virginia soybean farmers are hard at work growing soybeans to produce products you use every day. Candles, soaps, even crayons can be made from soybeans. Remember, when you buy soy, you're helping to support American jobs, the economy, and our nation's energy security. Check out Virginia Farming on Facebook. Virginia Farming's Facebook page is a great way to stay connected with Virginia agriculture. You might even find some humor there too. You'll find links to events and happenings all over the Commonwealth that are of interest to farmers and consumers alike. So connect with us and share your stories and photos with the Virginia farming community and keep up to date on all things agriculture. Virginia Farming on Facebook.